Hey folks, welcome to another Passion for Sound audio review. Today we're looking at the Topping L30, and this is going to be really quick and simple. I'm going to say to you, if you're in the market for this, stop the video right now and go and buy it. It is that good of an amplifier. At the price you're paying, it is nuts and insane. So just go and buy it immediately. But if you want to know why I'm saying that, obviously stick around and we'll talk it through. You might be looking at this video thinking it looks a bit familiar, and that's because it's the exact same setup that I did for my review of the Topping D90 and A90. In fact, all I've done is hit stop and then hit record again and keep going with the L30 because the reviews are so similar. And what I mean by that is the L30 here is a single-ended version of the A90 essentially. It uses the exact same circuit design, and the sound quality and output is almost identical to the A90. The only difference being that it's a single-ended versus a balanced circuit, which may take away ever so slightly from the clarity of it, but it is so tiny a difference that for the amount you're paying for this, it is an absolute steal and a bargain. So this is going to be a pretty short review because there's actually not a lot to say. On the front here of the L30, we've got a switch that goes from off to headphone amp to preamp. And that's something I keep talking about in reviews, starting with things like the Schiit Magnus, through the A90 and now to this one. When you're using an amplifier like this that can be a preamplifier as well, it is so valuable to either have muting outputs or to have switched output that goes between headphone amplifier and preamplifier. What this means is you can have an active pair of speakers connected and very quickly switch between using your headphones or using the active speakers. With some other products, both outputs stay active all the time, and that can be very difficult if you have to switch off your active speakers before you can listen to your headphones and vice versa. Also on the front here, we've got a gain switch that runs between -9, 0 and +9 decibels. Now I haven't actually checked this with the A90 manual, but I'm guessing it's the same gain implementation as the A90, which in the case of the A90 was considered low, medium and high, and here they're labelled -9, 0 and +9 dB. The nice thing about this is it gives you good flexibility in terms of the amplification levels you can choose from. Also on the front, we've got a 6.3mm headphone jack, so as I mentioned, this is single-ended only, and we've got our volume knob, which is a really nice volume knob. It feels good, it looks good, and it moves really smoothly. Spinning around to the back, very simple once again, we've got a 15-volt AC input. So similar to the Schiit Magnus that I reviewed recently and also the Heresy, the Topping L30 is using an AC wall wart power supply. So that means that you're getting the positive and negative swings of the voltage coming in. There's less conversion required for the DAX power supply, and it's easier therefore for it to produce high output power that's also clean. Other than that, on the back, we've got RCA in and RCA out, and that's it. So you've only got a single input here, you've got preamp output, and you've got headphone output, and that's it. So this is a very simple no-frills amplifier that is built entirely for its sound quality and really nothing else. The casing's fine, it's not special, but it feels quality enough, and I think for the money you're paying, it is absolutely outstanding. In terms of sound quality, the L30 produces a fantastic clean and detailed sound that is easily on par with more expensive amplifiers. So it's up there with the quality of the single-ended output from things like the THX 789, and maybe even slightly more refined.
Maybe we should have seen that we were both betrayed. What if we could set fire to those vows we made and let them burn out? You and I could make it work now. If you and I just let them burn out. You and I could make it work now. And you and I could return back to that room last summer.
As you've probably already gathered by now, I think this amplifier is so much better than its price tag would suggest, and is an absolute bargain for the price. In fact, the only knock I have against the L30 is it's not ideal for IEMs. Unfortunately, like with the A90, There's not a huge amount of volume range with sensitive IEMs. At about the 9 o'clock mark, I'm starting to hit normal listening levels, so you're not getting a huge amount of play, and that's on the -9 dB gain setting. So there's not a huge amount of range there. And there's also some background electronics type noise at low volumes. Interestingly, that noise is only at low volumes. So if there's no music coming through the amplifier and you play with the volume control, the noise that's apparent when the volume's at 0 actually disappears as you turn it up. So what that says to me is that if you are using IEMs, you're probably not going to get the background noise once you turn it up a little bit. But the question is whether your IEMs are insensitive enough that you can turn it up high enough to be able to actually enjoy the clean black background. Ultimately, I would look at this as a headphone amplifier that can potentially amplify IEMs at a pinch, but I wouldn't think of it specifically as a headphone amplifier for IEMs. If you are in a position where you want to use it with IEMs, then you're going to be better served using it with dynamic or hybrid type IEMs, where they tend to have slightly higher impedance and potentially slightly lower sensitivity. I don't want to extend this review just for the sake of length, but I think it's worth probably just providing a couple of comparisons for the L30. If you've watched my A90 review, you already know what I'm going to say, so there's probably no need for you to keep watching. But let me quickly provide you some comparisons of the L30 alongside the drop THX 789 amplifier and the Burson Soloist amplifier, both of which are more expensive. In the case of the Soloist, significantly more expensive. Talking about the old Soloist, the Soloist SL, not the current model that I'm reviewing shortly. But the old Soloist is significantly more expensive. The THX 789 amplifier is about double the price, a little bit over double the price actually, of the L30. In both cases, the L30 makes a case that it might be better than both. Certainly compared to the 789, I would choose the L30 sound. It's a little bit richer in its tonality, and therefore it doesn't have that kind of digital sheen that the 789 is, in my opinion, slightly held back by. The 789 produces a really detailed, clean sound, but it's quite flat across the board, whereas the L30 produces a much richer and more three-dimensional sense of space than the 789 can do. The comparison with the Soloist is much tighter, and it's pretty astonishing that the L30 absolutely goes toe-to-toe, both in terms of its tonality when put up against a fully discrete amplifier like the Soloist, but also in overall resolution and quality. It's at least the equal of the Soloist, and that is absolutely nuts at the price point and also at this tiny form factor. So I won't keep banging on about this because I think I've said all I need to, which is this is without a doubt in my mind the best value for money audio product on the market today based on everything I've heard. It might be the best value audio product ever based on what I've heard. It is seriously that good. I'm absolutely blown away by it. I should mention that this product was provided at no charge from Hi-Fi Go in return for the review, so they haven't paid me for an opinion on this one. Everything I've said here is my own opinion, and I'm flat out blown away by this. So if you want to try this out for yourself, I'll put a link down below where you can click through to Hi-Fi Go and order from them to say thank you for making this review possible. As I said, they haven't paid me to say good things here. This is just a brilliant product, and they happen to be the ones that provided the product in order for me to review it. As always, I hope you found this review useful. I've got plenty more of great content coming, so hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you want me to take a look at. But for now, I'll leave you to it. Say happy listening, and I'll see you here next time on Passion for Sound.